Hello everyone. Welcome back to Reddit Night. Today's topic is about breakups. Have you ever broken up with someone and regretted it later? If so, why? My first girlfriend. I wouldn't say I regret it because I am who I am today because of the decisions I made. It took me a lifetime of bad and sometimes abusive relationships to realize that actually everything I could have wanted and needed was in her. She was truly a good soul, and in my naivety I thought there would be many others like her, but life doesn't work that way. Last I heard, she had a husband and a kid. Couldn't be happier for her. Yes, she was my first girlfriend. Dated her for 6 years, nothing wrong in the relationship, but I assumed something was wrong because she was my first. I didn't know what other relationships were like for comparison. So when I started dating other girls, I realized I screwed up. Broke up with a girl because she was about to head back to a fancy college, and I assumed she'd quickly break up with me after a few weeks there. I was determined to not be the one getting dumped, so I did it first. Turns out she was devastated, and was planning on making a long-distance thing work. I felt terrible, but I couldn't just take it back, so I decided to give her some space. Half a year later, at Christmas break, we started talking again and quickly got back together. I went back to school myself, and we've been married 13 years. I ended what had been a couple years of a toxic relationship. It had been impacting my friendships with others. I think likewise for her. We never actually fought with each other, so it was hard to see for a long time. But in the end we were holding each other back and needed to go our separate ways. 5 years later, my life is so much better. Yet I've regretted it since the day it ended. Luckily she moved far away, and we both know it's best to not stay in contact online. I think about her a lot though, and regret it had to end the way it did. Broke up with my girlfriend because she didn't really fit into my idea of who I wanted to be with. About 2 weeks later it suddenly hit me. She was a kind person who genuinely liked and accepted me. WTF was I doing? Asked her to reconsider and she said no. We remained friends, and a few weeks later I asked her to reconsider again. She said no because she didn't know if I was just lonely or wanted to be with her. Told me to wait a few months and then decide if I wanted to ask her again. We've been married for close to 10 years and I've never been happier. Yep, I broke up with my first girlfriend and regretted it. We were both still virgins, but I didn't want to be, while she was a devout Catholic who wanted to save herself for marriage. I respected that, but 17-year-old me felt unhappy, feeling like I was never going to get to experience sex, though I still happily dated her because she was my first, and I was happy enough to be able to tell my friends that I had a girlfriend. I broke up with her, but after going through that experience and feeling how terrible it was for both of us, first heartbreak and all that, I turned around and won her back. I did it for the wrong reasons. I felt guilty for hurting her, and felt in retrospect like breaking up over sex was a shallow thing to do. Thing is, the spark was gone after that, so she broke up with me soon after anyway. It was for the best. We were incompatible in other ways that became apparent later, but hearing her say I don't love you anymore was perhaps the most savage emotional gut punch of my young life. And that was how I learned that A. Sex matters, and sexual incompatibility can ruin relationships. And B. Sometimes, a relationship can be broken badly enough that it can't be fixed. Shortly after the most crushing breakup I had, I found a girl a few years younger than me with 2 kids, just looking for an adult friend. I was clear about not looking for a relationship, and we started hooking up. A couple months in, I really liked this girl and asked her to make it official. She agreed, and I was super into her, but awkward with the kids. She never pushed me to be more involved with them too fast and the kids, and I met slowly and then more and more. We actually broke up a few times. I would end it because it got too scary with the kids, and then we would get together, and then she would end it because it was feeling too serious. On and off for about 2 years until I got offered a massive promotion 12 hours away and took it. We split up for real, which lasted about 8 months. Then by fluke I ran into her while visiting my parents and we rekindled. I didn't even realize how much I had missed her until then. We've been doing long distance for about 9 months now, and I'm looking for a job back in town. I proposed, she accepted, and she's constantly sending me links to dream homes we should look at. The kids and I love each other, and when she works I've been taking the kids to school and picking them up, and they both call me dad. I think the biggest thing that kept breaking us up is that we both went into it refusing to want a real relationship and directly looking to not fall in love, and let our stubbornness and egos, which we both have plenty of, refuse to let us reevaluate or be the first to tell the other we were wrong. I dated a single mom in 2012-13. Gorgeous, smart, funny, affectionate, liked everything I did including football and metal. Got me an engraved flask for my birthday with an inside joke written on it. Broke things off because an ex had come back into my life. Huge mistake. Not only did things not work out with the ex, but I burned the bridge with the other woman. She blocked me on FB and IG. I still have the flask and it pains me to look at it. I broke up with my boyfriend because he was avoiding taking care of some PTSD issues he had from his time in the army. When we first started dating, he was talking to a therapist weekly and then slowly dropped off until he hadn't seen someone for almost a year. I was also not doing well. I felt like I was drowning and I couldn't see myself carrying him, too. He got his shit together. I made some mistakes of my own. When we started talking again, I was picking up the pieces and he wanted to help me. I'd never felt so loved in my entire life. I didn't deserve him, but he wanted to be there and I finally wanted to let him. We started over, dating again, working as a team to manage our collective issues. We eventually got engaged and then got married a year later. When I first met him, I thought he was the love of my life, and even though the path wasn't neat and tidy, I wasn't wrong. He's the good things. I'm damn lucky and I know it. I dated a woman few months after a breakup from a previous relationship that lasted a few years. Maybe 6 months in, I realized I wasn't able to give her my heart because I was still hung up on my ex. I explained this to her and she told me she was willing to work through it with me. Unfortunately, I had become pretty depressed, thinking I was a failure for not being able to really love this woman who was perfect for me. I even made one of those pro-con lists to help me decide what to do, and there was nothing in the con side. We had everything in common, enjoyed the same movies, had many of the same friends, had similar goals in life, etc. We had become very close friends, and that's where the barrier seemed to be for me. My heart wasn't free to go further. I broke up with her and regretted it every day, wishing I could be over my ex. Maybe 6 months later, I was in a place where I thought I was ready to try being in a relationship again. This woman had moved on and seemed really happy with the guy she was dating, so I let the idea of us being together fade. After her, I dated a woman who would break up with me when she went back for her final semester of college because she felt she was gay. I never had any idea. I was disappointed because she was a really sweet woman, but there were no hard feelings between us. She needed to be honest with who she was, and we stayed good friends for a couple years until she moved out of state. After her, there was a terrible relationship where I was cheated on for a couple years. And then I met my wife. We've been married for 20 years and I've never looked back and wished things had worked out differently. All my bad decisions and pain led me to her, and this is where I want to be. She was a great girl. I was really sick. Got her to break up with me. Hello, self-sabotage. I don't really regret it because she's doing well, and so am I. But still, sometimes, I do think of her. And the nostalgia hits you. I learned so many good habits from her. We had fantastic conversation. She was oozing brains. She taught me a lot. She was really affectionate and understanding. She tried to be there for me, but I never really let her in. She had her own issues, but overall, she was a fantastic human being, and someone you could grow old with. I do regret that I am never going to see her, and I am not going to get an opportunity to apologize for the way I was. Reddit, if you have something to say to someone, say it. Trust me, just do it. The guy before my husband, I was with him for 3 years. I broke up with him because my future husband was showing interest in me at work and we were becoming friends. At home, my ex was stressed over a potential lien on his house, plus learning web development to make more money, so he was always working and we didn't hang out or talk as much. There was 14-year age difference between us, and I wanted kids and a family, and he had told me he did too, but he didn't want to talk about it with me. So I broke up with him. He was a genuinely nice person who always made me laugh about everything and had a sense of self-confidence in everything he did while being very calm. We never fought because he disliked confrontation, so that might have been a problem, but otherwise my life with him was so easy. No real struggles, and I threw it away over 6 months of him being a little distant and stressed. Now my husband and I bicker about stupid shit like me using the word never when he knows I mean most of the time. I feel like you don't help with this. It is also hard because he doesn't believe in depression, but has all of the symptoms: being lazy, unmotivated, never happy or laughs, no interest in doing family activities, and now he has begun wasting almost all of his paychecks on cigarettes, weed, lottery tickets, and coke. I'm 7 months pregnant. I don't know what to do. I am concerned for his mental well-being, but I know addiction is a personal fight. I'm freaking out because I can't help but to feel bitterness and resentment for his choices and lack of judgment for what I thought was our future. I don't know whether to let him stay here so that he can help out a bit with the newborn and our daughter, or just give him a month until he moves out. I told him he has to seek treatment, or go to therapy or a group meeting, because if not, I don't want him here, and I'm going to request supervised visits with our daughter. I cannot keep enabling him, but my heart is breaking with that decision. I wish things were different. Yes, our relationship kind of fell apart because she struggled to trust me since I was working with females mainly in healthcare industry and she had bad experience from the past with her ex-partner who cheated on her. I couldn't be with somebody who wanna control who I am working or being friends with, and she didn't wanna be with somebody who she don't feel secure enough with, plus all that thing about the trust. In general, apart from that, we had great relationship and I regretted later on, as she is the only woman I know I can think of as ideal partner for me despite all the flaws. Trying to get back to her, but she don't want to be with me despite seeing she still feels something towards me. It's terrible feeling. I kind of accepted it, but it still hurts and I'm often thinking about her. Guess if she would come to and say she want to get back, I would say yes despite it was already half a year. That is it for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.